Welcome, 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 everyone, to the Quantum Conception Masterclass. My name is Leah Sonaria, and I will be your guide today. We are in the Temple of Hathor, and I'll speak a lot more about her, but this is going to be a beautiful time for us to all drop into sacred space together. So if you haven't already, make sure that you are in a place where you're not going to be disturbed for the next hour, hour and a little bit. And yeah, you can also bring a candle. Maybe we'll light one all together right now if you've got one handy. And also, if you have any sacred objects you would like to bring into this space, feel free to allow that to be your altar for the day. So I'm going to light this candle here as a central fire that brings us all together. And I also have my little goddess statues here. So this is, whoop, can't see it. This is Hathor. This is kind of like what you see right there, mini version. And then also Hathor here. Hathor is the fertility goddess in the Egyptian lineage. And yeah, so I have a lot to share. And whew, there's just so much that I'm feeling really tuned into in terms of what's really gathering us together, which are our spirit babies, whether they are actually physical human beings that are meant to come through, and also these projects and businesses and arts and all sorts of things that are meant to be birthed through us. It's really a powerful practice of connecting to this current of creation and what that really means. And it's been my deep study for the last 6, 7 years of understanding what creation is all about. And so this is really what I want to share with you today. Also, is this isn't just for people who want to have babies, although this program is specific to that, but it's anything that you want to birth into the world. So really can apply. All of these principles apply because essentially at the end of the day, we're here to clear our vessel and become true conduits for whatever wants to stream through us and be grounded from the formless into the formed, and really bring this into the material realm that we live in here so that it can be shared and it can have its own destiny of what it's supposed to do, because you are a spirit baby in and of yourself. And I'm sure your destiny to bring your parents together, your lineages together, and your whole everything that you bring into this space, not just from the earth, but from beyond earth, is really needed right now at this time. And it's super powerful gift that you're here to offer to the world. So pat yourself on the back for just being a badass spirit baby and doing everything that it took to get right here at this time, this pivotal time on planet Earth. And yeah, we just moved through a powerful portal yesterday, the 999 portal. We're in eclipse season. So there's a lot of stuff coming up. And it's really beautiful to be in a space where this truth can be presenced and received. And so, yeah, just know that even if we won't get to all of the specifics, if you are feeling some feels right now, just know that it's totally natural and normal, and that you are on an ascension journey. And it's because you're so sensitive to all of the energies that are happening right now. Because this work is not just for, well, it's not for everybody, is what I want to say. It's kind of like there is a path, a destined path to be able to step into this. So lean into it and trust that you are exactly where you need to be in this moment. So I'm honored to have you here. And I'm going to jump into a presentation that I prepared. So I'll get that going right now. Quantum conception. How to unlock your natural fertility blueprint, reverse your bioage, and activate your creation power. Let's get into it. All right, so first we're going to welcome Hathor officially into this space. Hathor Heteru Hetert. She is a cow goddess, and she is known to be the embodiment of the energies of creation, fertility, sacred sensuality, joy, music, dance, writing, song. She is all about the arts and the craft. And she's also the great giver of milk, of nourishing milk to nourish us and to bring us into that state of sacred action, of actually getting her done, of bringing it through. So we welcome you, Hathor Heteru, for being here as our temple guide today and for this program. And just allow your womb to be where she sits in this moment. If you would like to take a moment just to place your hands on your belly, because her face is actually the shape of a womb. And she's got her ears really wide, so she's also about sacred listening and receptivity. So allow her energy to just slowly land into your belly, into your womb or your hara if you're a man, and just feel what it feels like to receive her. All right. We'll deepen into that in a minute. We'll be doing a meditation in a second. So, but I first want to just give you a quick overview of the agenda. All right. So, we're going to start with a quick visioning meditation. We'll go into a bit of my story. We'll talk about the 5 biggest fertility myths. We'll talk about womb consciousness, 3 big discoveries that I discovered on this journey of deepening into my womb consciousness as it relates specifically to fertility. We'll talk about spirit babies, and we'll talk about this method that I've created that is, a whole system to bring you into that consciousness. And then at the very end, I will offer a Heka attunement from Hathor herself, because I actually channel the language of the Egyptian gods. I call it Heka codes or Heka healing, and it will be a way to actually vibrationally structure your womb space or your creation space into that place where you can just ground in anything that you desire to bring through. All right. So let's start off with the meditation. So let's take a moment to place one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly, and just take a few deep breaths here to anchor and tune in, allowing yourself the space to just simply witness what is alive and present right now, tuning into the breath and really feeling into where your body can soften a little bit deeper. Maybe there's a little bit of tension in the shoulders, or there's some clenching in the stomach. Just allowing the energy to drop down, down, down into the earth, feeling yourself connect to the womb heart of Gaia, of this beautiful planet Earth that we all call Mother. And now opening up the crown to receive a stream of light from above, from the great cosmic womb of Nut, the macro womb that birthed this entire universe. Feeling into this beautiful blessing, this gracious stream of energy, of resource that is anchoring down through you, filling up into your body, activating every cell. And now the invitation here is to feel a portal begin to open through your heart space, this bridge between above and below, this space that allows your field to become more magnetic, more amplified, this holy of holies, this inner sanctum, and allow this portal of your heart to begin to widen with each breath. And feel that this portal is now widening to your entire auric field, encompassing your mind consciousness, your womb or hara consciousness, and the consciousness of the cosmos. And imagine that this portal is now duplicating in front of you. You see a mirror reflection of this gateway. As you stand in front of it, you begin to see something on the other side. It's not an exact reflection of you, but it is something that is walking towards you. Maybe you're seeing your spirit baby. Maybe you're seeing a project or a business or art that you're meant to create. And just notice this beautiful energy, this energy of a completed form coming towards you. And this This being also has an open heart space, an open heart field. And feel that your heart field and their heart field are merging together, that there's a bridge being connected between the two of you. And take a moment to really take in now as they are stepping closer to you. Maybe they're just a couple feet away. You can start to see the detail of what they're bringing. Maybe it's how they look. Maybe it's the energy they bring. Maybe it's the impact they're meant to make. Maybe it's a ripple through time and space. Begin to notice the detail of this creation that is meant to be born through you, and honoring that this is it within you, that this is meant to come through you in divine timing, and that all the assistance that you're receiving in this now moment to help you birth this beautiful being is already here. And I'll leave you with a few breaths here to exchange any information with this beautiful being. What is it that they are meant to tell you in this moment? Maybe dropping a clue or showing you a vision of what is truly possible for you here right now. Taking a moment to honor and thank this beautiful being. Maybe you want to hug them, give them a high five, bow to them, feel their presence in the field here today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And slowly returning back into the space. Oof, I really felt that. Oh my gosh, I'm almost in tears. Thank you for bringing them in. Welcome, welcome, spirit babies and spirit projects. Okay, so I'm going to begin with this quote from myself. When you pair modern understanding of the body with original feminine wisdom, conception stops being about trying and instead becomes about tuning. The end result isn't just a baby, it's wholeness. It's becoming the embodied creator of your own life. And from that place, miracles become possible. Amen.
The time has come to restore the womb as a holy temple of creation. For too long, women have been taught to fear their bodies, disconnect from their cycles, and outsource their power to systems that seek to profit off of their pain. Quantum conception was born to forge a new path to parenthood. This 12-week, sacred, science backed journey restores the womb's natural intelligence, heals ancestral imprints, and opens the dialogue between spirit babies and their parents to be. It is both exploratory and practical, weaving energetics, epigenetics, and embodiment together to awaken the true creative power within.
All right. So that was my little promo. Just to give you a taste of what's to come. Of course, this is a primer for a much deeper journey. And I want to begin with my own personal story of how I got here. And there's a lot of pieces, so much that I've written. My first memoir and my second one has written itself, and I have to now actually do the writing. It's supposed to be a trilogy, but that's also how these things kind of unfold sometimes, that you start to realize that you're living a storybook life and the mythopoetic landscape begins to inform how this all comes together, which is the deepest exploration into meaning making that I have ever come across. So the Coles Notes is that I started out as a yoga teacher, and there's a moment when I had a very intense traumatic experience, and after teaching 3 yoga classes, I collapsed and, had to get rushed to the hospital because I had an ovarian cyst that I wasn't aware of that had twisted and had cut off the blood supply to my ovary. And, so I got it surgically removed, which also removed the ovary and essentially, reduced my egg supply by half in a night. And I was pretty devastated. I didn't know how that was gonna affect my fertility, and so much was sort of being brought up to have me think about my life. I ended up actually creating a yoga clothing company from there called Inner Fire to kind of give me a sense of fire and purpose, even though actually my right ovary got removed, which is the masculine ovary, which is supposed to fuel that kind of energy. But I found it somehow without the physical organ. And I went on this deep healing journey. You can see this picture of me when I was really in the thick of running that business. I was not healthy. I was a little bit overweight. And I went through this whole thing up until 2019 when I had my spiritual awakening and really began to go deeper into my own womb healing journey. And I met priestesses, and I met shamanic healers and medicine women that all led me along this path. And then within 2 years, I transformed every part of my body. And the pandemic was really a time for me to go deep into temple space. And I began to learn even more. And it wasn't so much about learning, it was about really just being in the experience of self connection and the clearings that would happen and going into this cathartic release and not knowing what any of it was about. And that led me to write my first memoir called Super Kali, which was my initiation with goddess Kali Ma. You might be aware of her. She's the fierce goddess of transformation in the Hindu lineage. And that was all about healing my mother wound. And so there was a lot of things that had to happen. And let me back it up. There's a key piece that I forgot to mention is that during the pandemic, I actually got pregnant. And during that time, I was very torn about the decision. And it was something that yeah, I couldn't find any answers to. Like literally, I was going on Reddit threads and talking to everyone I knew who had kids and asked them if they regretted it or not, because it was a new relationship, but we were very much in love, and it was during the pandemic, so there was a lot of uncertainty. And there was a moment where I got a very subtle message, and this was at the very beginning of my womb healing journey, but I'm very glad I had the ability to tune in, was to actually consult my womb for the answer. And so one night I went into my space in tears and I asked my womb what it wanted. And it said, "You're not ready to birth a baby yet. You're ready to birth a book." And so that's what led me on to the book writing journey. So that's, yeah. And it also was really kind of nice to know that I was fertile, even though my doctor said that I would have a lower chance. So then that led me to the Egyptian mysteries. And yeah, so much I could say about this, but I had done a priestess training where the last goddess that we worked with was Hathor. And as soon as I connected with her energy, I began channeling. And I had already been on a vocal liberation journey up until that moment, but something was moving through me. And in after a sound bath, actually, specifically, I began walking home and I started speaking these codes, these words that I had actually studied that were part of some of the ancient Egyptian uh, words and the vocabulary that they talked about, like Sahu and Heka and Ka and Ba, and some of the sacred names of these deities. And so I began to channel this, and I wasn't sure what I was bringing through, but I knew that I was connecting to the Neteru, which are the Egyptian gods, and they're also known as forces of creation. And there's many ways to actually look at them, but I also see them as galactic ambassadors that came from different star systems to come to Earth to be able to help Earth unify, especially at this time. And so that led me to my first trip to Egypt. And so I remember going to this Hathor temple, and I was just like in such a liminal space. And there was quite an initiation that first trip I was on. And I wanted to speak the codes in the temples, but the facilitators actually told me that I wasn't ready yet, which really humbled me. And it wasn't until we got to this temple that they gave me the green light to actually speak inside of the birthing chamber. And I sang through this transmission, and everybody was just in tears. And it was just this moment where I knew that there was something around this energy that I was connecting to. And you can see here on the right, beside this little kitty cat, that there's a lot of scrapes in the wall here. And so the Hathor Temple was a pilgrimage site where women would go to literally eat the walls. They would scrape at the walls and eat the dust, because that dust they believed held these powerful codes of creation. And when you go there, you're just, there's so much nurturance in this space, and it's also a party space. Like you can tell that they had a rooftop and they would celebrate a lot, and there was a lot of interfacing with the public. People would come to actually, rejoice in this energy of creation that was present within the community. And the priestesses were the ones that would ring their sistrums. Um, I should bring my sistrum out. Let me just hang it here. Um, so this is a sistrum right here, and it's you might not be able to hear it because I've got the sound off, but it's a sacred tool to call in Hathors, which are the Palladian star mothers. There's 7 of them, and they come in to really bring in this frequency of love and joy and sacred sensuality. So that was the first initiation with Hathor. Then, just a few weeks later, I was on my own after the tour ended, and I met this beautiful mountain man who took me to another Hathor temple on the Sinai Peninsula. And this is the most remote Egyptian ancient site. And it was about a 3-hour trek. And he took me to this place, this beautiful canyon place with red rock. And there was this one pillar. This is the only remaining pillar that is left of Hathor at this temple, because everything else got stolen over all these centuries. They actually have Bedouins that are assigned to this particular piece and guard her so that nobody steals her off of this mountain. And so I remember coming up to her, and all of a sudden my channel opened and I began channeling the codes. And then I had to literally lay on top of her, and she was doing adjustments on me. That's why I have this yoga pose here. But you can also see her face in this picture. It was such a sacred transmission moment where, as I laid onto her, I felt her energy just transfer into me. And it was a moment where I just knew I was meant to really bring forth her frequency. And I knew that that was also the location, the most Hathorian location on in the entire world, I believe, because Dendera is beautiful and there's so much there at that temple, but it gets visited very often. Whereas this temple in the Sinai, very hard to get to, and kind of secret. And so it kind of felt like she just really wanted to bring her energy through. And then I pierced my nose right away, and then got the cow initiation. And that's kind of like my initiation into becoming a living Hathor. And then a year later, I got invited to co-lead a pilgrimage to Egypt, which was another sign that I was meant to really walk this path of Isis and Hathor and really begin to do my priestess ministry. And this was an interesting moment where, as I was returning to this temple, I had these messages come into my Instagram of this Egyptian man that wanted to know when I was going to be there. And it was very interesting. But this guy in the center here is the shop owner of one of the shops in the temple complex. And he shows up with roses, a platter of fruit, and special gifts. And he told me to come visit him after the tour. And he gave me these mugs with my own with pictures on with pictures of me on them. Like, he was a fan. Like, it was crazy. He was just like, "You're Hathor." And I was like, "Okay, I am Hathor." I didn't expect that. But then right as I'm walking out of this shop, I run into, actually no, she walks into the shop. My teacher, my spirit baby teacher, Sarah Naya Soleil of Spirit Baby Society, walks into the shop. She hugs me, and I receive this immediate womb activation. I feel her womb is transferring something to my womb. And I had already began studying with her, but I hadn't gone all the way with my spirit baby practitioner training. And so that was a clear sign that it was time for me to go all in on becoming a spirit baby communicator and really learn as much as I could about this sacred practice of bridging the veils. So that's the quick little story of how I came to become a Hathorian priestess. And I want to also share this piece around modern science is finally catching up to what the ancients always knew, that sound shapes matter. Vibrations can literally shift the energy field of your cells, recalibrate your nervous system, and unlock dormant potential within the body at the DNA level. And so that is what I feel is so beautiful about working in the quantum realm, is that through sound, through intention, these codes can actually reshape us. And I truly believe that this is also how we get to manifest things quicker, how we're able to actually access the universal information field for our benefit and be able to download in whatever it is that is ready to come through us. All right, so this is the initiation, the invitation into initiation for you, because this whole process, as I've been tuning into the world of fertility and looking a lot at what is wrong about this whole system and how we've over medicalized things and how things are really getting into this space where we're outsourcing our power to something outside of us, even if that power is very well intentioned and means a lot. We want to have the right guidance, and science is amazing. I'm so for science. And yet there's also this missing piece of us regaining our own true sovereignty as creators. And so this is the invitation, is to step into your sovereignty, to honor your body, your spirit, and your lineage, and to do the work at looking at the old patterns and the woundings and the conditionings that had led us astray into what I would believe to be an epidemic of fertility, where there's so many people struggling out there with real serious issues, health issues like PCOS and cysts and endometriosis and all of these things, which I believe are all symptoms of a missing energetic blueprint that we are ready to restore and restory into our being as feminine beings, as ones that carry both the energies of masculine and feminine, as ones who are really truly aligned in our own central pillar without needing to rely on so much outside of us to understand how this all operates. Because we all know the womb has that intelligence to assemble trillions of cells and to make it a human being. So, that's also what we're trying to access again here. And then exploring the liminal, this kind of nebulous realm of the in between with curiosity and devotion, and bringing through that divine feminine consciousness. And then also a key piece is to understand that we're always entering into death portals. Every single breath is a death portal, but there's also certain ones that want to be honored with specific ritual and ceremony because they are true rites of passage, because there's something there that's really real, especially if you've experienced a miscarriage or an abortion or something that is a true death within you. It's seldom truly honored, and also the energies are often not properly cleared in order to make the new space ready for new life to come through. But this death portal initiation is part of the Isis lineage and part of what she teaches in terms of resurrection and how things always are in a continuum, that there's really no end. But then to allow ourselves to grieve whatever it is that we are leaving behind, and to honor all of that is part of that process of looking within, and also, yeah, doing the real work to presence what's being composted. Okay, so we're gonna go into the 5 biggest fertility myths. There's a lot out there, and I will be very honest, it has been a scary exercise to go into the world of mainstream forums and Reddit threads and Facebook groups and looking at where the beliefs are, like what people actually believe about themselves and how they can, whether or not they're able to become parents. And it's so, I don't know, I don't want to judge it too much, but what I will say is that it's kind of false safety. It's not real space holding. A lot of these forums are places where people go to vent, or they'll share their results, and they'll try and get feedback, and they'll look for solutions. And yet these spaces are very much policed, and they're not really places where people can truly share their wins and possibly alternative modalities that might actually be effective. And so I was very scared to even post anything into these spaces, and I still haven't, because it doesn't feel like a safe space for me, because people wouldn't understand this angle. And yet I truly believe that in my creating of my own temple space, a real safe space where we can actually lean into these triggers, sisterhood wounds, things like that, where we're getting jealous around each other's successes. That kind of thing, I think, is also part of the healing and really needs to be brought forth, because when we are in temple space together, there is a current called an egregore that actually lifts everybody up and helps everyone get to their outcomes with more ease. So that's my belief. And so let's dig into these myths a little bit deeper. So myth number 1 is your fertility is just about age and egg count. And although this has some truth to it, and of course, your likelihood to conceive is, it does diminish as you age, this isn't the whole truth because, as you probably know, if you're here, you are probably on a healing journey and you have probably seen some effects of the good work that you have been doing to reverse your actual age and your vitality and to shift from age as a number to age as an embodied feeling, and that you kind of know that you're younger than your actual age. And when it comes to how to maintain this, it all comes down to the energetics of actually allowing the energy to move down and out that wants to be released, because our cycles are designed this way. Every month, if you're still bleeding, it's about shedding the energetics that are ready to be cleared and then receiving from the earth a new fresh template. And so this is a practice that really has been forgotten, is to honor our cycles and to look at, yeah, how we can optimize our health. And there's so many other methods in terms of detox and yeah, allowing yourself to not be swimming in the interference of all of the stuff that's invisible to us. And there's a lot I could go into with that, but it's my specialty as a shamanic practitioner to actually clear that stuff off of people and to give them the tools to be able to do it for themselves as well. But it's a constant purification process that will help you get to that place. All right. I think I already talked about a lot of this stuff. Yes. Okay. So, myth number two is birth control has no long term impact. So, I was on birth control for 16 years, and I believe that's why I got my cyst. The reality is that after years of or decades of shutting down your natural cycle, your womb and hormones may need deep recalibration. We think that if we just stopped birth control, we can get pregnant right away, but that is not the truth, because what birth control does is it creates a false bleed, which is called a withdrawal bleed, but it's not a true period because it results from from a drop in hormone levels rather than the shedding of the proper uterine lining, and no egg actually gets released when you're on birth control. And so when I was thinking about this and what happened to me when I came off of birth control, which is I just got flooded with so much information, like my whole womb consciousness just like came online. I realized that I had been holding on to energies from when I was 16 years old, when I started birth control, and that it never fully got released. And so it's no wonder that people go through some really challenging times after they come off of birth control. Either they're bleeding too much, or their bleeds are irregular, or they are painful. And that is a result of all this energy that hasn't been fully released from all of those false bleeds. And so it's really important that we return back to real shedding. And yeah, that's part of that practice of honoring your blood as well as not a burden. It is a true magical elixir full of stem cells that is there to nurture life. So it should be honored as sacred. All right, myth number three: painful periods, PMS, and irregular cycles are normal. So similar to what we just talked about, is like this out of balance, we tend to just medicate, or we think that it's totally okay, but it's really the body's way of communicating to us and saying something's off. And I really truly believe that what's off is this missing feminine consciousness that allows us to honor the entire four-phase cycle, all the seasons that we all have within our body during the month as women, and also how those energies are meant to be worked with in our lives. We're not always meant to be on top of things. Sometimes we need to rest. Sometimes we need to chill out and not work out that day and not be constantly pushing forward into this masculine linear mindset. So this other part of this is this luteal phase, the third phase, the autumn, the inner wild woman phase, is so misunderstood because we think it's, PMS and we're going crazy. But really what this is a time of recalibration, and it asks us to take inventory on what's working and what isn't. And so without that phase, the shed doesn't really actually release it. And we're holding on to a lot of things. And these energetic blockages, they manifest as real physical things. And so it's our job to continually do that clearing. And it doesn't happen all at once, although you can do a lot. in a short period of time once you start to switch into your own natural rhythms. All right, myth number 4. IVF and medical procedures are your only real option. This is probably the saddest myth because I've been doing a lot of research into people's IVF journeys that they post on YouTube and talking to people that have gone through the process. And it is a very painful and expensive process. It costs tens of thousands of dollars. It has very low success rates because they don't actually address the root cause. And it is an industry. This is a multi-billion dollar machine, and doctors are trained to bring people just straight through into these procedures because they believe also that if you're over 35, you're considered geriatric and that your eggs are all shriveling up, and these are the beliefs that we absorb as well. And then people go on this journey and they have to self-inject every day, and it's not not very great. It's just like, if we can avoid it, let's try. And I want to also preface this by saying that I am not against IVF. I truly believe that it is something that is a beautiful alternative if everything else doesn't work, and it has created beautiful miracles and can be effective. And yet it never addresses these root causes. So it's kind of like we're just going all the way to this extreme without considering these other factors that can also be so much more fun. Like, who doesn't want to have amazing sex to have their baby instead of a petri dish, you know? So we'll get there. All right. And then myth number 5 is your uterus is just a baby making machine. So this is kind of the mechanical mindset uh, that modern medicine has us think that, yeah, all of all of our parts are just like a machine, and that everything is super linear. But womb consciousness doesn't operate that way. The womb is not passive. She's an intelligent alchemical container, a portal of creation, and she's a temple that we need to tend to. Also, she is a sponge that holds on to ancestral imprints, sexual imprints, past life imprints, these things that we are needing to clear because we need to do the temple keeping. That is the core foundational practice of being a priestess or anyone is to clean house. Um, and and often we don't understand that there isn't this energy flow that wants to move down and out. The cervix is a portal, and it's up to us to actually entrain the energetics of that back into a healthy flow. And I've seen some miraculous self-healing with my clients and with other people that work with womb guides. And it's such a special thing to be able to then know that nothing is set in stone when you're having these issues. Of course, certain things require medical interventions at certain stages, but at the end of the day, we can really do some miraculous things. Like, there's so much that can happen through the power of our own body's intelligence. All right. And somatic releasing is a huge part of that. So, through the practices that I'll be sharing in the program, it's a lot around just dumping it out of your sacrum and allowing all these things to just move in a free way, and trusting your body and trusting in how you can sound it through, how you can scream it through sometimes or dance it through. All right. So, what is womb consciousness? So, I've already touched on it a little bit, but I'm just going to let my womb speak in this moment because I've noticed over the last few years, I've gone in and out of really connecting in with my womb. And my womb will have these moments where she'll just kind of give me an experience of kind of a little bit of a whiplash, where she'll check me and she'll be like, "You're not actually listening to me. You need to quiet down." So I'm going to take a breath right now and just connect with her and see what she has to say. So there is a psychic power that we're connecting to right now as a collective. And without the understanding of the feminine consciousness, we're missing half of our own power, because there's something around when we connect to this consciousness that is not linear, that is metaphorical, that is more tuned in to the mythopoetic storylines of our lives, the fractal nature of how things unfold in relation to one another through beautiful patterns and through storylines and things that create meaning in life. We begin to really understand what it means to be human. So, womb consciousness is human consciousness. And it is also how we're able to allow ourselves to be in container in sacred space so that that containment can create an expansion within ourselves so that we can explore the edges and the boundaries of what it really means to be a human being at this time, evolving, progressing, moving into new frontiers of possibility. So, this is what the womb wants to say right now. And this is also the practice that I want to share with you is how to tap into that intelligence where it's unscripted, where there's things that just want to move through you, where it's better than ChatGPT, where there's something around what is wanting to be birthed through you cannot be done by any mechanical means. It must be done through sacred intelligence and sacred technology. All right. Thank you, womb. All right. So, next, I want to highlight three big discoveries that I came across on this journey. Number one, the womb is an oracle. So we touched on this, but I want to highlight that this is your inner crystal ball. That when we are able to really tune into what she has to say and how her intuitional capacity operates, it's a very different intuitional capacity compared to your mind. And they do work in tandem. It's kind of like an upper lower dantian experience, but there is something around connecting to this space that allows you to have a more somatic answer, that allows you to connect to your body as that compass as you navigate through all of these things. Because essentially, at the end of the day, if you're on this call, you're here to create a new reality. You're here to make a case that things can be done differently in this world. And stepping outside of the water, the soup that you're swimming in can feel very confronting sometimes. And yet that's why community exists. And that's why we're coming into temple space to allow ourselves to find new truths around what's possible, that miracles are actually really just changes in perception. Okay, so discovery number two, spirit babies are ancestors and guides. And this is something I learned from my teacher, Sarah Naya Soleil. And when I first heard it, I was like, they're ancestors? What? But what's really interesting about this idea is that because they haven't come in Earthside yet and they haven't experienced that amnesia reset that every human being experiences when they come into this world, they already have the perspective of God. They can see from every vantage point, and they are also personal emissaries or ambassadors for your lineage. And so they have this little checklist of things that need to be healed, we'll call it, in order for them to be a vibrational match to you. And so their job is actually to guide you into vibrational resonance with the lineage itself, what the lineage is asking for. And that lineage can be a blood lineage, but also can be a soul lineage. Because, as you probably know, you can have siblings that are very different because they come from different soul lineages. But when we consider them to be ancestors, it also changes the way we think about time. It's not a linear sequence. When we think of lineage, we think it's like a line that goes through, sequential time. But really, a lineage is more of like a geometry, like a 3+D geometry, where there's nodes on the geometry, and those nodes are intersection points where souls meet, where your parents and you meet, where you and your children meet. And yet the web is multidimensional. And so this can also appear in experiences of, like, let's say, in order for the baby to come through, a relative needs to pass on. So there's that kind of like sequencing of how things have to happen in the revolving door of creation that also is stuff that we don't know how to tune into, but that I'll be sharing in the program about a lot of these principles of how these spirit babies are actually guiding us to be in that vibrational resonance. Because truly, these babies, this next generation, they're coming in because they are being called into service. And what they're being called into is big work. I hate to say it, but our world's still a little bit fucked up, pretty fucked up. And there's a lot of things that they're going to be tasked with to right the ship and to find the solutions, and to clean up our messes, essentially. So they are very high vibrational, high conscious beings. And if you've seen kids these days, like, I'm an auntie and my niece and nephew are like geniuses. Like they're so smart. And I'm realizing like, and a lot of my friends' kids are like that too. And so there's something around this next generation where our healing gets passed on to them. So they're asking for mommy and daddy to get to a certain level of consciousness before they can come in as a prerequisite so that they can do the work that they're meant to do. And lastly, sacred sex is creation technology. And this is something that is actually not even taught in the programs that I've taken. It was, yeah, it was a weird little piece that just was kind of absent. And I realized that, yeah, maybe sex is still taboo, even in the spiritual circles. And so I went into studying Tantra and Egyptian Tantra and understanding how polarity operates and how to do that within myself, because I'm also in a divine union journey. I haven't actually grounded that in yet. My spirit baby is very demanding. There's a lot of prerequisites for me. But I also, yeah, have come to understand that this is a powerful manifestation tool because it makes you magnetic. And when you come into that orgasmic experience with your beloved and you know how to run the energy and how to amplify that intention that you have to create a child, you're going to start that child's life off with a big bang. And I think that actually really changes the whole trajectory of that kid's life because starting off with pleasure and joy and love and deep connection and incredible orgasm is probably the best way to start off a life. And so, yeah, I feel like I really am passionate about passion and getting people to that point where the pressure is off because I know a lot of people that are trying and they are constantly having sex on the clock and it's just it doesn't work the way you want it to because there's yeah the way it works is through ease and relaxation. And there's a meme that a lot of people trying to conceive get all annoyed by is just the just relax advice. But it's actually really true because you still need to be in that state of like surrender and deeply trusting that the divine timing is going to happen the way it's supposed to. All right. So let's get into Spirit Babies 101. I have a few more things to share here. So I'll go probably over the hour, maybe an extra 20 minutes here. Um, so, spirit babies. Okay, I said a lot about them already, that they are ancestors. But another piece that I want to share here is that really they are here to refine our clairs, our abilities, and our extrasensory perceptions, ESPs. So, through this dialogue, through connecting with them, which we already did at the beginning, which hopefully you felt something. I'd love to hear when we get off the presentation. I'd love to hear if you saw something. Uh, this is also part of their training for us is to become more refined in these subtle abilities. And so, how do we communicate with them? So often, what I've been trained in and what I do, I want to also just really highlight the beautiful work that my teacher has done, Serenaya Soleil, because she really is a true miracle worker and psychic. And I feel so blessed to be able to bring her wisdom through, combined with some other things and other teachings that I've learned along the way. But the whole point is you have to get empty first. Like with anything, with any creation and any connection beyond the veils, your job is purification. Your job is to clear the vessel and to come into empty presence. Once you come into that empty presence, then the field is primed for you to receive the information. And you'll be able to discern what's coming from your own mind and what's coming from the external by the I guess I'll call it kind of the unique signature frequency of what you're connecting to. And then it becomes more somatic over time, where you'll start to notice that your body will reveal to you when you're actually in channel versus when you're just thinking about things. And so when we connect to these spirit babies, they can speak to us in many ways. They can appear through visuals or whispers, they can be clairaudience. Uh, there's telepathy where they just say things to you, flashes of insight or knowing, where you just kind of have this feeling that you're in connection with them, or through signs and synchronicities. And these can also be related to signs and synchronicities related to your ancestors. Like, for example, if your grandmother shows up as a butterfly, you might also see butterflies that are holding the energy of your child. So that can also be a way that they are communicating to you. And I call this thing concentrated magic. It's like when you're at Burning Man and everything is super magical, elevated magic, or when you're, in a container or you're in ceremony, something is happening because the field is properly set up to be an alchemical container. You'll notice that within this experience too, because you might go through some sequences where there's just a lot of stuff popping off all at once. And you'll open your phone and you'll see a thing that's related to something you thought about, or yeah, many ways this can all show up, but it's also a sign that the container that you are forging for yourself, because again, the womb is an alchemical container. The container that you're forging for yourself is becoming fortified well enough to be able to hold life. And a lot of that comes down to really getting clear with your own energy and your own boundaries and where energy is leaking. So that's a whole other thing that we'll go over in the course. But I find, yeah, when we're aware of ways that we haven't been paying attention to the real magic in life, spirit babies will come in and just flash them to you and sometimes give you a nice little stream, so that they know you're there, um, and that you know you're there. You know they're there. Okay, and then dreams. Dreams is a huge one. So, yeah, just paying attention to when they show up or how they show up, because it's nonlinear consciousness, it's metaphorical, so it can be, yeah, up for interpretation, but also a really great space to be in connection with them. And then story weaving, so becoming a memoirist, looking at the themes in your life, looking at where key turning points and initiations have occurred, where, you were guided along the way by your ancestors, by your descendants, by the ones that want to have a beautiful family tree to ta t to really tell the story of. And so that's where we can start to see these recurring themes in the epigenetics start to come up, and these true realizations of why we are the way we are. Okay, that's just a quick one. All right, so karmic rules versus cosmic law. This is a very key principle that my teacher Sarah speaks about. And so, karmic rules is being pushed by your pain. Cosmic law is being pulled by your pleasure. And so often when we're on the karma clearing journey and we're going through this process of figuring out what still needs to be cleared in order for us to bring through these babies or these projects or whatever it is that we want to birth, we have to understand that karma is a loop that wants to be completed so that you can spiral out of it. And if you're not aware, spirit, the universe, God will give you more reasons to find that. It will be like, oh, that lesson hasn't been grounded in yet. It's a prerequisite. We need to kind of nudge them a little bit more, poke them a little bit more, make it a little bit more obvious. And that can be painful. And sometimes that's beautiful motivation. Like that's where you have your dark nights of the soul, major breakups, big endings, miscarriages, abortions, things that make you cry. And in that, you start to realize that there is a deep surrender that is being asked for and that maybe it can be done a different way. So then passing through that threshold into the cosmic law, which is the divine ordering of things, which is the way this universe is designed, which is called Ma'at in the Egyptian lineage. It's a principle, but also a deity, Ma'at. And she is all about truth and law and harmony and order and everything in flow consciousness, everything in its right place, nothing out of place. That is what pulls you into this beauty way of living your life, of true trust, capital T trust in the divine, in creator, in your own path, the purpose, and everything that comes out of taking the journey and knowing that you won't know what kinds of plot twists are going to come along the way and detours and all sorts of things. But if you're leaning into that pleasure, then it's actually creating the real energetic scaffolding or the template for you to then build off of, and that temples can then just kind of miraculously appear out of nowhere. Like when you're hiking up to the Sinai Peninsula and you're finding this beautiful, gorgeous temple, that is kind of what you're doing for yourself energetically, is actually grounding in what is ancient and what is future, but in this way that is really the way that it always has been, that we don't have to suffer through it. Yay. Okay, so that was a lot. Let's just take a breath here and just let that integrate and just settle into the body vessel. Place it on your inner altar.
Why not? Oh,
Oh, somebody is not muted. All right, so I'm just going to quickly go over this. This is all on the website, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time to go through all of this. But this program is my life's work. I've packed in so much of the really true key nuggets that you need to know in order to create anything at a high level. Like this course is one example of how it all just came through. Like it just Spirit was like, you got to do this now. And so all summer I've just been working on this, but it's been very flowy and very beautiful because I am working with Hathor. So we'll go, first week is foundational creation principles and Hathorian magic. There's so many beautiful creation principles I want to share, which will apply to anything that you're meant to create in life. And then we'll go into soul contracts, karma, timelines, and soul psychology. This is a really big piece of really looking at past lives. And while we're doing this, also, it's all going to be an activation. So I want you to kind of reframe this as a course with a bunch of information to more of an experience with an activation that is going to change you forever. And maybe you're already feeling it a little bit in this moment because this is me. This is what I'm all about. Then we'll go into family systems, ancestral dynamics, and field coherence. And coherence is something that I've been super tuning into lately, of understanding how we are fields within fields within fields of energy and how to harmonize those fields so that you are becoming magnetic to everything that you want to bring in. And we're going to heal some mother and father wounds, which is never that easy, but also very, very rewarding. And then we'll go into womb energetics, biological reprogramming, and reclamation. This is a huge piece. Yeah, this is like the missing wisdom that so many women need to have because regardless of what path you take, you're still going to need this wisdom, right? So even if you go the medical model, it's very imperative for healthy parenthood to be able to understand your own cycles and your own energies and how they all weave. All right, then we'll go into purification and partner attunement because, against popular belief, this isn't all the woman's job. This is also up to the man, and this is also not supposed to be all heteronormative. This can be, if you decide to get a donor or anything like that as well. But I also feel like we are going through an epidemic of a lot of men shooting blanks, of not having healthy sperm. And it's the same stuff that they need to heal because often within a lineage, the spirit baby is checking both and looking at like what needs to happen on the masculine side as well. So we're definitely going to address that and we'll look at, yeah, some health protocols and ways that we can elevate our body's natural ability to be fertile. All right. And then we'll go into fertility sovereignty, spirit baby communication, and intuitional calibration. So we'll go much deeper into what I already touched on here. But yeah, it's just really going to be a deep practice of tuning in to all of the different ways that you're meant to be magic and how your spirit baby is the activator for that and how they maybe led you here to give you a safe space to explore that. And we're going to be sharing a lot in our group around what's actually coming alive. And then we'll go into ritual technologies for conscious conception, aka sacred sex. And I'll teach you all of the tantric practices that can be really beneficial, and the ritual space and what it means to actually be in ritual communion with somebody. Because yeah, sacred lovemaking is a game changer, and there's just so much around the beauty of that and how we can, yeah, just call them in the most pleasureful way. And then finally, we go into sequencing, story mapping, and quantum manifestation. So we're going to widen the lens a little bit at all these other things that you want to create in your life and to really look at the story that's unfolding for you and how to sequence things in a way that allows everything to happen in its right alignment. And it, for me, has been a massive journey. And in some ways very disappointing because I thought it would happen so much faster and so much easier. And at the same time, realizing that has pushed me so much deeper into my true purpose and how I'm meant to serve. So that's also a key piece of this is to really carve out your true purpose here. And we have a ton of bonuses as well, private community, safe temple space, live weekly calls, and we'll also have these amazing guest teachers that are going to teach on things like pregnancy loss and release rituals, herbal allies and nutrition, reversing post-pill syndrome, the fertility awareness method, hormonal support through aromatherapy, Mayan womb massage, healthy pregnancy, planning your dream birth, so much more. It's just going to be an ongoing rolling roster of incredible teachers and experts that have come into my world and helped me out a lot. And yeah, the temple is just going to stay alive in perpetuity uh, as this offering continues to roll out. And so the next step, if you're really interested in joining, is to book a call with me so I can get to know your story. And for being here, I'm offering you $555 off of tuition. And then we also have a referral program because in my experience, it's been a little bit challenging to find all the right people. So I want to reward you. You could actually get your entire program paid for by referring to people. So, and if you decide to sign up and then you end up referring people, then we'll just refund you. So, yeah, if that's interesting to you, let me know. And now we get to go into the Hathor womb attunement. So I'm going to stop my share and let's take a breath together. Woo. Thank you for being here, everybody. How do you feel? Let's maybe take a couple minutes for some reflections. Anything, if you want to unmute yourself before we go into the activation, anything that's alive. You can raise your hand or just simply unmute or pop it into the chat. I know it can feel like a bit of a fire hose sometimes. Let's hear from like at least one person. Thank you, Leah, for sharing this. It's all resonating very deeply with me. I'm all tears. Aw, beautiful. Yeah. I mean, this is such deep work, like soul remembrance stuff. Like, there's no mistakes. You're led here. And that's how the Egyptian lineage found me. It just kind of swooped me up and was like, here we go. This is a powerful, magical lineage. And so your babies, whatever it is you're here to bring through, are powerful and magical. And they're here to reflect that back to you. So, do you want to hear? Oh, let's hear from John.
Thanks for sharing, Leah. Really good to see you and connect again. Yeah, my partner wasn't able to join, but yeah, we're in discussion for having a baby coming into our 40s. So yeehaw. But yeah, I guess I'm trying to understand a bit more. I mean, I'm obviously she's teaching me a lot more about the female anatomy and all the different ways of like and the challenges. Because my understanding is that for conception, you're if you've had one baby in your 20s or 30s, it's a lot easier to have a second baby in your 40s versus like having your first in your 40s, right? Um, but she's been off birth control, and so for quite a while. And so I think there's going to be some better chances there. We haven't actively started yet, but we're just in the planning phases. So we're just trying to be in a place where we can plan. And so, thanks for all the information and for sharing. It's been great to connect. Did you go to Egypt with Therese Lawton? Was that on one
I
of
did.
her?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't go with her, but her and I had a time together for sure. Yeah, because I was
Beautiful.
there for a total of 5 months. So it was a
Yeah.
special time. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I look forward to going back.
Love to see how much it's
Grounded in a
impacted
lot
you.
Hathor
So
energy too. Hmm?
beautiful. Love to see how much it's impacted you. And yeah, she's doing
Mhm.
some potent work over there. So
Yeah.
great. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, and on that note, right? Like what is expertise really? Like I keep asking myself like what is expertise? Because we'll hear a lot of things, right? And of course, we need to trust medical professionals and doctors and things like that. And at the same time, based on what I have learned from Sarah is that this is the key. I'm going to give it to you straight right now. The key is that you make the decision for yourself. it's not about A or B. It's about making a sovereign choice. And most people don't understand what that is because we've been pulled off of our center so much, trusting others, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But at the same time, we're living in quantum reality where miracles can happen and anything really can be possible. Like people are birthing into their 50s now. And so a lot of what we were told around our expiry dates and that we need to freeze our eggs right away and all this stuff is a response to old paradigm thinking, old medical model stuff. And so I kind of like to just clear the field of a lot of these things that we might already believe and just lean into miracle consciousness instead. And at the same time, that requires us to surrender, right? And to know that we're working with the mystery. So we can't be fully sure. There's no guarantees with any of this stuff. It's a tall order to even be creating this program and say like this is going to get you pregnant, but I've seen it with my clients. And at the same time, it's like we are also realizing that no matter what, we can create, no matter what. And no matter what, we can be parents. So that's also hopefully giving some solace to the ones that are kind of a little bit anxious about this whole process. And when you get a little bit older and you're like, I don't have the person and my clock is ticking, but we're also working in non-linear time. We're working through that paradigm as well. And we're ascending past the fourth dimension, meaning time doesn't exist at all. So yeah.
I'm
All
curious
right.
if you
Yeah.
have any um, thoughts around like specific like vitamins, nutrients, or foods to eat for increasing that
Totally.
on the male or female end?
I have an incredible herbalist named Lux, and she's also a nutrition expert. She's going to be coming on to do a guest class because that's not my specialty. So I'm bringing in experts that know all the plant allies to help you out.
Yeah, cool.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm just going to read. So she says, today is an important day for me, and I find it very interesting that this call was today. Why? I want to hear. Is there anything specific that you want to share?
Yeah, I'm starting teaching something that called me from the depths of my heart. For the last 4 years, I've been putting everything together, and I'm starting today. And yesterday, when your mail came to me, I was sitting out, I was trying to have a nap, and then suddenly something like a sensation woke me up, and I couldn't sleep anymore. So I opened the computer, and your mail was there, and this is something I've been resonating with for a long time now. So I was like, what? And I signed up, and today is the day, well, this 4-year journey finally gets started. So I don't know, everything is very synchronistic. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. Yeah, trust it. I didn't even know there was going to be all this like 999 portal and all this stuff when I created the invite, and then it all kind of lines up. And that's the beautiful thing about it is that you don't have to be aware of everything for the magic to work, and then all of a sudden you understand in hindsight why everything had to happen in that order. Yeah, let's hear from Tanya.
Hi. Thank you so much, Leah, for sharing this like just beautiful information. I just wanted to share something really quickly. I've been kind of in this space where similar to what you were just saying, how like, you're getting older and it's like, oh, these relationships have been working out. And it's like that older paradigm of like, no, you need to just discount all of that and just keep pushing through and keep pushing through. And it's just not aligned. So I just want to say that first of all, like I'm just really thankful for this type of information being put out there because it's so like it just makes so much sense. And the one thing I do want to share is I've been seeing this little girl for like a couple of years now, just like I can't even pinpoint. And I know her name and I've been seeing her, but every time I like kind of not necessarily like saw her or like maybe just felt her presence or in any of those like ways that she was like trying to communicate with me, I kept feeling her. And I used to get really sad because, oh, she wasn't a part of my life yet, or I missed out on having her, or whatever it was in older relationships, and also that pressure of like, you're getting older, you need to, get pregnant and all this stuff. But and when you were just talking about how it's your spirit baby who is pushing you along this path, I was like, oh my God, there was just like this crazy epiphany realization. I was like, oh my God, it's her. Like, I am on this like crazy deep, like healing mother wounds, healing father wounds, healing family wounds, healing lineage wounds, like very deep, deep healing and sitting in ceremony space. And I don't know, hearing you talk about this made me realize that, oh my God, it's her who's preparing me. And it was just like this. So, anyways, I just want to just say how you're blowing my mind right now.
Yay! Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Yay. That's this is really what Hathor's medicine is all about, is just like returning us back to these truths that are kind of hiding in plain sight. And then all of a sudden you're like, it clicks in and you're like, who do I tell this to? Oh, my temple sisters, like this is why I'm creating the temple, because literally I'm resurrecting this temple, this ancient place most tourists go to. But it's like, because there is something that happens when you're contained by the womb of Hathor. And when she guides you in this way, it's just like, yes, because then the baby's like, check that, I'm one step closer. And yeah, and it applies to everything in life. So I'm so honored to hear that. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Anyone else want to share? Let me read out what Shay says. I feel so much lighter after today. I'm ready to try for my second after 5 years and really needed this to further show my body is ready for when it's meant to happen. I have also tapped into my past lives where I lost 2 babies and they both came through during the meditation. It's beautiful and what I needed to feel secure in my body. Oh, amazing. Yes. Yeah, there's so much. It can be quite complex when you're trying to map out your spirit baby's requirements. And they're your requirements, really, because this is your ascension journey as well. Like, it's not just them. It's just that they're kind of the initiator in the higher realms moving you along. But past life stuff goes very deep, and there's a lot of things that like one I'll mention specifically that I work with a lot with my clients is the fear of dying in childbirth, because it has happened a lot. It has happened a lot. And it's a hard one to deal with, because what ends up happening is the door gets all jammed around what is in, what is out, right? Death and life become all confused. And so when you have that imprint in your body and a doctor doesn't know how to diagnose that, oh, the thing that's blocking you from conceiving is that you have a fear of death while childbirth imprint. It's like, that's when you can self shamanically clear it. And that's where this work is like very, very deep. Because locating that is 99% of the journey. So I'm going to give you guys a lot of different things that could be the block. And so you can actually start to ask yourself and do your own journaling practice around, oh yeah, that's it. That's what I feel in my heart. Is it? And then you're like, okay, let's go. Let's clear it. And that's the beautiful thing about it, because we don't have to clear all the things. We probably would be here for lifetimes if we were tasked with that. But there's a specific sequence of healings that need to happen in the right order, and you'll know which ones apply to you. Okay, and Life Coaching Academy says, I felt such a powerful energy surge through the body during the visioning exercise. I'm looking forward to the attunement, which we will do in just a second, unless there's anyone else that wants to share before we move on to the last piece. Any last shares? Okay. All right. Well, let's go into bringing Hathor back into the field. Here she is. And trusting that this can be done more easily than we think. And I'm going to bring my sistrum here. To invite Hathor to be in the temple with us here today, to be with us and our spirit babies, our creations, our projects, our art, our businesses, whatever it is that we're meant to birth here. And invite you to just close your eyes, place your hands on your belly, or you can even lay down if you like. You might notice this in the body. You might notice it in the mind. You might notice it in the heart. Wherever this wants to manifest or present itself, just trust that it is a perfect revelation of whatever is ready to be shown here. And I, Leah Sonaria, offer myself as a conduit of only the highest and best to stream through me now in service to this beautiful collective here. I'm calling in the Neteru to be present to reshape the Ka field for all here. Tara ma'at nete rekiara ka sahuret ma'at heturet ka rekiara ka sahura. So they're inviting us to breathe more deeply here, to allow the circulation of breath to create a loop of energy around the body that flows up and around. Heturet ma'at heturet ka raka sahuret neteret ma'at heturet ka raka sahuret ma'at heturet ka rekia raka sahura haturet ma'at heturet ka heturet ma'at heturet ka raka sahura haturet ma'at rekia raka sahuret ma'at heturet ka Reiki, 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 raka sahura hatu ret. Ret ma'at hetu ret ka, raka sahura hatu ret ka. I'm seeing a circle of all of our spirit babies now surrounding us, and there's a beautiful web of light radiating out from them and connecting into all of our ancestral lineages. Hurra hatu ret kia rakasa huret neteret ma'at hetu ret ka. Reiki, 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 rakasa hurra hatu ret. Ret neteret ma'at hetu ret ka. Hetu ret ka rakasa hurra kasa hurra hatu ret. Ret ma'at hetu ret ma'at hetu ret ma'at hetu ret ma'at hatu ret ka. Reiki rakasa sa 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 sa. Taking a deep breath into your womb space or your belly. Exhaling all that no longer serves. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhaling to breathe in new life and vitality. Exhaling to let it go. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. And by the power of the Ankh, I declare this healing to be sealed and complete across all timelines and dimensions and realities. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Ankh Neteru, Ankh Neteru, Ankh Neteru. Hotep, Hotep, Hotep. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. If you have any reflections on how that felt, if you noticed anything, we have a bit of time to share here. If you do have to take off, thank you so much for being here. I'll send a follow-up email with the replay and some links to more information. And if you're interested in joining the program, book in a call with me because I really want to get to know you. And yeah, let's make some magic happen. So yeah, anyone want to share? Thank you, thank you, thank you. And yes, definitely drink a lot of water and ground yourself after today because this is a full frequency transmission. Pay attention to those clairs coming online because it's all happening. It's all happening. So yeah, and if you ever need any support or if you want to do a one-on-one attunement or shamanic clearing or spirit baby reading, I'm also here. And yeah, I'm just so excited for what this is going to become and the beautiful space that we're going to be weaving together, where whether you decide to join or not, we're all in it together. And yeah, this next generation of babies, they're going to be badass. I feel them. So Thank you so much for being here. And we will end by blowing out the candle. And yeah, feel free to also reach out to me on Instagram at Flow Priestess if you want to, yeah, just connect. I'm always on there sharing things as well, different transmissions. And yeah, with this, we close this container officially, and may we all be in right relationship with all things and in the highest resonance of love. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Many blessings, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Love you.